Yeah, what kind of cut we doing?
I wanted to do a low tapered hairline. I liked his lineup, bro.
Like that.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
cool with enhancements?
Yeah, enhancements. Oh, actually, I wrote down notes before I came here to tell you all of this. Yo, I came all the way from New York.
Yeah,
bro. I'm
bro.
Like, yo, I'm coming.
What would you
prepared,
recommend?
bro. You already know what it is. So
Yep.
low
Taper.
C cups, blend that over, and then tapered hairline if you can.
Bet it. Let's get it. Today we got a New York client in the building. He came from Long Island. So we're gonna start with just debulking. And what I'm doing, I'm basically creating shape with a scoop out motion. Now I'm gonna start my taper. And he didn't want it super low, but he didn't want it like a mid taper. It was kind of in between both, if I do say so myself. As long as the taper isn't like taking off too many curls from the side, I think it's fine. So I'm gonna hit it with some clip over comb. I started my taper process. You guys saw how I did it. And notice how I'm like trimming around the hairline, but not too much, because you don't want to leave the curls on the hairline because then it won't be sharp. The hair is going to move around too much. So same thing with the back. I'm going to scoop out with a high guard. And then I'm going to switch it around and go with the green to kind of help me with that shape. And this isn't an easy cut. Like, dealing with curly hair, in my opinion, is probably one of the hardest textures. It's very coily, especially hair like this, because it curls pretty much from the root. So it's patchy because look at when we trim the hair down. You see how it's patchy? Because now the curls are more spaced out because they don't have room to group together to form a curl. You get what I'm trying to say? That's how curls work. So I'm scooping out with my 2. And now I got my 1. And I'm making sure the back looks nice and faded out. It does look not blended, so we're gonna blend towards the top. And we're gonna do that with a high guard, and then we're gonna go with some clip over comb. So the taper in the back was definitely the hardest part of this cut, just because the hair grows in so many different directions, and like I said, it's patchy. When you trim curls, it's just naturally patchy. So we're gonna finish creating the shape by just clip over combing. Now I'm gonna trim the curls around his ear so that we can get a nice crispy shape up. But notice how I'm not digging in too much. You kind of got to be at an awkward angle and then freehand the rest. So his hair on this side of the taper, I kind of took it up higher, just because it's my first time cutting his hair, and the hair on that side just naturally cut lighter, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go in and detail the other side to kind of match it up towards the end. Sometimes that just happens, like the way someone's hair growth pattern. So notice how the hair it grows backwards kind of on this side of the taper, sideways. So that plays a part. We're gonna trim the top. So I picked it out in the beginning. I didn't show it, but I picked it out. And we're just creating that shape. Now when I do this, I go back and pick it out again, and I continue to trim it. And after that, then we go with the sponge. I like to blow dry when I do that process, and then I'm gonna add some hairspray on his hairline, and we're gonna get started on the line. So I'm starting with the C cups. And the reason I'm using my soft trimmers is because I know this line is gonna take work. Work as in I'm gonna have to go over it a few times because the hair is so curly. It curls from the root, so you can see how the line's pretty patchy and light, even though we trimmed it. So notice how I'm continually going over it, but it's not that I'm pressing, I'm more so shaping. I'll show you guys what I mean. So I set in my initial line right here. Then I go back and sculpt it more to get all the hairs that are hanging over, that are hovering over the line, if that makes sense. With curly hair, it's gonna move a lot. It's gonna move a lot. You brush it one way, the wind blows, it's not gonna look the same. So you gotta keep going over it to make sure it's set in stone and crispy. So for the line I started out with my sharp trimmers. And he didn't want it too far back, so a lot of this is bangs, but he did request enhancements to make it dark, so that's gonna make up for it. His biggest concern, he just didn't want a big forehead, so we gotta fulfill the client's request. So I'm gonna spray some enhancements. I'm using Tomb 45. If you guys wanna purchase this enhancement, the link to purchase will be down below under the shop section. Now it sprays dark, which is good because you're not gonna have to use a lot. As you can see, I'm only using a few sprays for each section, and it's already dark. So I'm gonna use my razor right now, shout out Easy Blade. My code is on the screen for a discount. I'm going to stretch his skin and use the razor on his hairline. So we're gonna do his eyebrows. He wanted it shaped up a bit. His eyebrows were pretty bushy, kind of like mine. So I start with my trimmer a lot of times to avoid irritation. Then I go with my razor and hit the top and the bottom. The bottom's tricky because most men don't want them super sharp like women. When you're doing women, usually they want that nice arch. Men do get an arch, but not like a significant arch. So I'm gonna use my shavers on the back. And this is how my client came in. And this is how he's leaving. Nice, clean. The shape is there. If you like this vid, leave a like below. It's 4. I'm out. Peace.